Hi everybody, welcome to Jesse's Tea House. I'm your tea guy, Jesse. This video, we actually shot it as the 5th video, and then after uploading the footage, I realized all the audio was destroyed, and so I have to shoot it again. So for you guys, I'm gonna drink excellent tea a second time because I work hard for you. Let's do it. This is actually a 7-tea sampler. It is a Tong, which in Chinese is the word used for this bamboo sort of contraption. The original Tongs were 357-gram cakes. These are 7-gram cakes, but both of them have 7 of them in there. And then this one is unique because we have a sampler of the many different types of teas that are available in Yunnan, all coming from Sister Ai and her family's tea mountains. We work directly with the tea farmers in order to find these and to bring them to you, and they're all packed by hand. Beautiful, beautiful packaging. How cool is that? Ah, so cool. We even got the Jesse's Tea House on there. This is actually the traditional packaging, the old tea horse road trading route. They would use the bamboo to keep the tea dry as they trekked it all the way across from Yunnan up into Tibet, where they would trade the tea for horses. Hence why it was called the tea horse road trading route. It was basically like the Silk Road, but for tea. And a lot of that stuff actually did continue out on the Silk Road later. So beautiful, opening it up. As you open the Tong, you're gonna see, oh, all the coins spilling out. Beautiful coins. Ah, it's like you hit a treasure chest or something like that. So the reason behind all the small coins, you say, why make all these small coins? As a tea guy myself, when I started getting into tea in China, I was able to go to all these small tea shops or even the tea mountains and try like one steep of this and one steep of that, like one session. That was a good thing about being in China, is you could try so much to be able to build your own taste and know what you like and what you don't like. By having all of these coins, it gives you an opportunity to try many different types of tea without having to like invest a ton of money into buying big amounts of any one of them. This is going to be the last video in the series. As I said, we tried shooting it once. We're going to try it again, and we're drinking the Sister Ai's 1,000-year wild tea tree red tea. And when we say 1,000-year tree, is it literally 1,000 years old? Some of them are a little older, some of them are a little younger, but this is the area of the world where the wild tea tree is from. Southwest China in Yunnan is where the ancestral tea tree evolved. Wild tea trees that have just been growing on the side of a mountain. And that's where we get this, from a nature reserve inside of China. It's about a 4-hour trek up the mountain to pick these leaves, 4-hour trek back, and they need to start being processed immediately. One of the reasons why this tea is a little bit more expensive than the other ones on the site is because of all of that extra labor. They literally have to trek up the mountain and trek back down in order to be able to get you guys this tea. We're gonna have this tea coin. So there's 7 grams of tea in here, which is plenty enough for a 1-person session. You actually could steep this many, many times. Let's say you get about 10 steeps out of this tea coin. It's loose leaf tea that has been pressed into a coin shape, so it's gonna open up as we get started. There we go, drop it in, beautiful. And there we go, getting this ready. So for this tea, I do recommend a wash steep. Although I know that a lot of people are like, oh, the tea is so expensive, do I want to waste any of it? You can totally drink the wash steep. The wash steep is there because this is a pressed tea. It's in that coin, and you see it needs some time to open up. As it opens, the flavor gets better and better. So part of the Gongfu tea culture is about being a great host. And one of the things that you want to do as a host is you want to give your guests the best. And so for people in China who have lots of tea and lots of water, they kind of developed this wash steep to get past the kind of not as interesting opening steep while the tea leaves are not inundated with water, and get immediately to the really good stuff to give it to their guests or to themselves. But feel free to drink the wash steep, and I'm gonna drink the wash steep for you guys here on the channel just to be able to show you what it's like. The 1,000-year tree tea has a couple attributes to it that really make it exceptional. The first one, obviously, is the fragrance. These trees are growing wild up on a mountain, and that means they have really broad root systems. And the root systems go all out, and they get nutrients from all sorts of, not just the ground, but also the plants around them. They have a lot of research that they've been showing that the tea tree and the flavor of the tea is actually influenced by the other types of plants that grow in the area. When I was in Taiwan, I saw they were planting osmanthus trees next to the tea trees because they wanted to be able to have a sort of cross-pollination of the flavor. And that effect is brought up like 10 times by the fact that this wild tea tree has been like living in a mountain amongst many different plants, animals. That wild environment makes the tea really, really excellent. All right, here we go. We're gonna show a little bit of this wash steep. I think I steeped that for about a minute or so. Look how clear that is. Here is the scent. Trying out the scent. Love it. The scent is very fruity and very floral. It smells like flowers and fruit. It's really, really good. The 1,000-year tree is not the only red tea that we have in this Tong. We actually have an everyday red tea. And when I say everyday, the trees are like 200 years old. That tea is actually a little bit more bold and punchy. And this is very like sweet, honey-like, floral, crisp, and of course, very, very clear. So like, that's pretty cool. You know, muddy tea is usually not great tea. Give you guys a little pour. Oh yes. Very, very nice. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. Here we go. Cheers. This is just the wash steep, but honestly, like it is really good already. This wash steep is gonna be much lighter. So what I'm getting a lot is that floral scent, the honey scent, the sweetness. It's almost like plain water with a little bit of sugar thrown in, or some sort of, not like cane sugar, like white sugar flavor, almost like a honeyish sugar flavor. Oh, and it's just like really clean drinking, beautiful stuff. I mean, this is one of the reasons why this is, you know, one of the best teas, if not the best tea on my website, because you just can't get wild tree flavor any other way. The cool thing about China is actually they have some of the ancient trees are wild, like these are wild, but Chinese history is so long that they actually have some tea farms that are like 700-800 years old that were planted by people. So the emperors of China always wanted tea as tribute, and a lot of places started planting tea trees specifically for the imperial tribute tea. So when I was in Yunnan, I actually went to one of these old farms, and you can see hundreds of years old trees that are actually planted in rows because they were planted by human beings like hundreds and hundreds of years ago in order to be able to have really, really good tea. And now those trees are so old that they're real ancient trees. But these are from the wild trees that are way up in the mountain. And so even though both are old, the wild trees are still gonna give you a better flavor because they're going to have more biodiversity around them. Let's get going with the second steep. Here we go. You can see that the coin is still not fully opened yet. That's the thing that we want to do as we keep going forward, is to get this coin more and more open. The leaves are all loose leaf and they're pressed into these discs. The original bigger discs, which you can see over here, these sort of things were created in order to store pu'er tea. So pu'er ages and it oxidizes as it gets older, and it gets better and better and better. So unlike a green tea, which you're gonna wanna drink the same year that you bought it, ideally the spring green tea is the best, the pu'er tea is actually meant to be aged, and it gets better and better and better. And for that reason, they would pack them into these discs for easy transport. Red tea, like we're drinking here, it's not gonna get that much worse or that much better when you age it, but because this also comes from Yunnan, where they have the tradition of pressing these teas into cakes, and because the leaves are totally fine with it, a lot of people in Yunnan will still press their red tea into cakes like this. And especially as we're looking to do like a mini coin sampler, we also put our white tea and our shou pu'er and our different teas into that coin shape so that you guys can enjoy them. Red tea, for people who are real newbies, it's the same type of tea that we call black tea in the West. So if you think about black tea, Earl Grey, English breakfast, this is going to be like that, but the highest quality version of it you've probably ever had. It's gonna be a little bit lighter and much more floral and much more sweet. Here we go. So you can see the second steep already, still very, 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 very clear, but the color is a little bit darker. It's this kind of like light orange thing that we got going over here. If you're looking really close, I think I can see them. Yeah, you can see the howl, the little white floaty hairs in there. There you go. Now you can really see them. That's a good thing. That shows that the tea leaves themselves are covered with this this hair, which is all nutrients. Second pour. Oh yeah, look at that color. Really, really nice. Love that. Cheers. Boom, fruit, just like fruit juice flavor. It really does kind of taste like fruit juice, which is absolutely wild considering there's no sugar or calories or anything in it. I'm actually kind of glad that this was the video we messed up, because this may be the best tea in the entire mini Tong. Either this or the Black Beauty, in my opinion, are the best two teas in there. And cheers again. So Sister Ai, the tea farmer that we work with to make this tea, for people who are new to the channel or maybe have seen her appear but don't know exactly how this happened. So Sister Ai is a tea farmer in rural Yunnan, and we got really lucky to be able to find her because we had this kind of chain of connection. In China, you need like guanxi, you need like connections to get the good tea. Because a lot of the places that sell to the West, they know that Westerners don't really drink a lot of tea. Even stuff that's kind of like low or mid-tier market stuff in China will be really good in the West. So in order to get really good tea, you basically have to know somebody and have a lot of trust with them. And of course, somebody like me to be able to taste the tea and be able to help figure out whether it's worth what they're paying or what they're charging. That helps too. We really wanted to have like close connections with the tea farmers. And so we found that with Sister Ai. Here's how we know her. It's kind of funny. I apprenticed for 7 years to a master comedian named Ding Guangquan, learning traditional Chinese xiangsheng comedy. Master Ding, during the Cultural Revolution, worked at an organization called the Coal Miners Cultural Work Unit, which was the government's cultural program, kind of like the Marines have a band. There's like a cultural unit within the Army. The Coal Miners Work Unit has a cultural department that sent entertainers to coal mines to be able to perform for them. During that period, Master Ding spent 10 years performing for coal miners in Shanxi province. He met another man who worked there in the Coal Miners Cultural Work Unit called Jia Laoshi. Jia Laoshi is a good friend of Master Ding. After Jia Laoshi retired, he became a tea magazine writer and traveled all over China, drinking tea, meeting tea farmers. He met Sister Ai and eventually kind of adopted her as a goddaughter. So she is Master Ding's friend's Jia Laoshi's goddaughter. In China, this is a really strong connection. We have a lot of trust between each other that we can send these big wire transfers over to China and she will deliver the tea. We know that she's going to do a very good job of keeping up the quality of the tea, which is a bigger challenge than you might think, especially in China. Once you start doing business, if you're not really that close to your provider, they might switch which mountain they're getting the tea from, or they might like lower the grade a little bit. As a tea guy, I don't want to have to taste test every single batch of tea that's being sent over and do like randomly picking teas out to see whether they're changing the quality. We want to know that when we get stuff, it's going to be good, it's going to continue to be good, and that's the trust that we have with Sister Ai. Starting now with the third steep, telling the story about Sister Ai and how we met Sister Ai. Like there's a term in Chinese called cha yuan. Cha is tea, yuan is yuanfen. It's like fate. There's like tea fate. I don't know if I would say I believe in this in some sort of like, you know, physical level, but there is a spiritual thing about it. It's like some people, you meet them and you're like, this is a tea friend. This is somebody like, you know, life would be really good if I could just like spend all my time with this person drinking tea. And then there's other people, it's like the tea tastes good, but I'm not buying it. I'm not in on it with this person. I don't really want to interact with them as much. That's bad tea fate. I definitely feel like we have good tea fate with Sister Ai. We actually brought our entire tea team to China. She put us all up for many days. They slaughtered a pig for us and we did a barbecue up there. She took us to the tea mountains. Great hosting. Look at this, third steep. Very beautiful color, very clear. If there's any smudges on it, it's like my fingerprints or whatever. Beautiful tea color there. Oh, golden orange. Cheers. Oh, it's so good because it's very rich and it's very flavorful, but it's also very clean and light. I'm never gonna get tired of that. I'm also gonna make an admission to you guys is that when I left Sister Ai's mountain in 2023, she gave me like a giant bag of this stuff in loose leaf, like this big. And so as much as I have an everyday red tea, which is more affordable, and the 1,000-year stuff is supposed to be for special occasions, I kind of drink this stuff as my regular tea because it's just so good and she gave me a big bag of it. The other good thing about working with Sister Ai is not only are we able to make this red tea of hers, we have her white tea, we have her show pu'er tea, golden cake pu'er. It's a different type of pu'er that is kind of lighter and less astringent, more sweet. That's really good if you've like, maybe you've tried a raw pu'er before and it was too intense, too astringent, and almost like too bitter. The golden cake is a good option. And then of course we have the Black Beauty. She invented this technique herself to create this tea. It's a combination of the processing techniques of raw pu'er, white tea, and red tea. And so it comes out to be very, very special. I'd say other than this, that's probably the best tea in the mini Tong. So good. So I'm gonna keep going to the fourth steep, but we're probably getting around to the end of this video. I'd say you could do about 10 steeps in this size Gaiwan. So this is a really good tea to have when you have friends over. You'll be able to have a lot of it. If you wind up making the leaves and you're like, I don't wanna drink 10 steeps, what do I do? What I would do is I would just take these leaves afterwards and I would put them in some sort of like a jar or like a pitcher, and you can fill it full of water and put it in the fridge. And you can cold brew the remaining tea energy out of the leaves. That will be a very opulent cold brew. It'll be really, really nice. Obviously, if you enjoy cold brew and you don't want to hot brew them, you can do that with the tea coins. You can just like cold brew them. I prefer to have the hot tea this way, and then if there's anything extra, I can cold brew them. Or, you know, you don't have to use them all to the end. A lot of times people are like, I spent all this money on really good tea, I want to use every ounce of it. I don't think that's wrong or a bad attitude, but I would say that you don't want to put pressure on yourself when you're drinking tea. Just enjoy the tea. Enjoy as much of it as you want, and then, you know, you can do whatever you want with it afterwards as well. And the crazy thing is, even this tea, being relatively expensive by Western standards, is still gonna be cheaper than getting a bad tea bag at like Starbucks. I don't know how the world worked out, but like when you go to Starbucks, you're paying for their rent and their employees and everything. And when you buy this, you know, I buy it from the farmers, I pack it, I send it to you. So we try to cut out as many people in the middle as possible. Cheers. I think that's about it for now for the 1,000-year tree tea. Obviously, this is one of my favorites because anytime I get to go back to see Sister Ai and try her teas, I'm very excited. The mini tongs are on the websites. We're gonna have them in all of our markets in the US and Canada, in the EU and in the UK. They're in various stages of being in and out of stock because you saw how difficult it was to wrap these. Like, they actually take quite a bit of handwork in order to get all these coins pressed and to get packed and everything like that into the tong. So we're working to restock them as soon as we can. But I'm just like excited to have this as a regular sampler available on the website. This is a very good sampler if you want to try like Yunnan tea. And if you're like, hey, I'm drinking this tea and I really wish I was like reading a book about how Jesse lived in 10 years in China as a comedian and apprenticed to Master Ding, and you wanted to hear more about that, I have a book that's coming out in February of 2026, depending on when you're watching this. It may already be out. If it's not out, you can pre-order it. It's called This Was Funnier in China. It's all these amazing stories that I have about my time in China doing Chinese comedy, and I actually still perform Chinese comedy. I originally wasn't even a tea guy, I was a comedian, and then tea was my hobby in China, and when the world kind of fell apart and I couldn't go back and forth because of COVID, I started making tea videos, and that's brought me to where we are today. Thank you so much for all your support for the tea. If you wanna have a really fun read, buy the book. I just wanna thank you all so much for watching the video. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. 多喝茶, drink more tea. Cheers.